Never, ever, 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 ever get into a relationship because you feel lonely. I don't care if it's a intimate or romantic relationship. I don't care if it's a friendship. I don't care if it's a partnership. I don't care if it's a damn ship on the ocean. Never get into a ship because you feel lonely. This right here has been one of the greatest contributing factors to detrimental, toxic, and destructive relationship dynamics. When we come from a place of desperation, when we come from a place of I don't want to be lonely, we are willing to accept just about anything. It's like hunger, right? When you are hungry, when you are damn near starving, you will settle for garbage. You will go to a garbage can if you come to a certain place. That's why sometimes we see folks and we're like, how can somebody eat out the garbage? When you come to a certain point of hunger, you are famished. You are thinking about whatever it is that might have been thrown out in the backyard in that trash can or up front in the house. You will be willing to go to places that you would never think possible in a mindset or a mind state where you are full or at least satiated or halfway fed. You understand me? This is what desperation does. Desperation will have you thinking up alternatives that you would never otherwise do in another situation. And this is what loneliness does. Now, before I even get into this, I want to address loneliness simply in and of itself. Loneliness is not the lack of people around you. Loneliness is not the lack of a relationship with another. Loneliness is a feeling of disconnection from ourselves. That's it. When we feel as if we're not connected to us, we feel lonely. I've been in situations where I'm surrounded by people, people who love me, people who care about me, and yet I still felt lonely. As a matter of fact, I felt loneliest in some of those situations because now, it was evident that my loneliness had nothing to do with the people around me. So it felt that there was no solution to that loneliness, when in truth, there was a solution, and the solution was internal. Excuse me with this creaking little chair. Sometimes the chair be creaking. Don't worry about it. So I finally had to come to terms with the reality that my loneliness was not rooted in me not having people around me, me not having friends, me not being in a relationship. Why? Because I was also in a relationship, in an intimate or romantic relationship. There wasn't intimacy in it, but it was a romantic relationship. And I found myself feeling lonely. I felt as if I was by myself in that relationship. Though the person was physically there, sometimes literally in my face, I still felt that there was no connection there. There was no resonance with the other because there was no resonance or connection with myself. And so too often, we find ourselves getting into relationships because we're afraid to be lonely. We're afraid of being by ourselves. We're afraid of ending up lonely. It is all fear based consciousness. And we've been conditioned to believe that there is such a thing as loneliness. We've been conditioned to believe that when nobody is around, you are alone. Remember when you were a kid and you used to see somebody sitting by themselves and they said, "Oh, that kid is by themselves. They're lonely," right? They're the lonely child. Not understand that they could have completely been enjoying their company. You could have been the loneliest one, and you got 100 friends, and they're sitting over there by themselves, and they feel absolutely content and whole. Like I remember this one time I was in middle school, and there was this girl. I'm not gonna mention her name, but she used to love to catch like fireflies and stuff like that, or different bugs. And she'll go out, at lunchtime and catch bugs by herself. And I felt so bad for her because I would always see her by herself. I was projecting, right? I felt so bad for her because I said, surely she is lonely. Surely she has no friends, and therefore, that's why she's catching bugs, not thinking this is her passion. Maybe she's going to become, the bug catching expert of the world. Maybe she's out there right now. She's got, a following of 10 million people who watch her catching bugs. I don't know. I don't know. But all I knew is I judged from my own perception of if I was by myself, I would sure feel lonely. And so I told me and my homeboys to go and, and befriend her and talk to her during one of these lunch breaks. And, we were trying to engage and interact with her. And she was, pretty engaged, but then she was also more interested in catching her bugs. And some of the homies thought, oh, it was funny or whatever. Again, when somebody's being themselves, we respond in very strange ways. So sometimes we laugh as a defense mechanism because it's really triggering our own insecurities. It's triggering the aspect of ourselves that feels that we're deprived of authenticity, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, I found myself in a situation where I was like, damn, I was throwing myself into her world. And I was like, oh, wow, she's really, into what she's doing. Now, in hindsight, it makes complete sense because she was doing something she was passionate about. In the same way, when I'm sitting here doing this, or when I'm sitting behind the laptop and I'm typing up the books, or I'm typing up the screenplays, I'm in here recording music. Like I feel the most content. I'm gone. You understand me? And I'm the only one there. It's me talking to a camera. It's me talking to a microphone. It's me typing away at a screen or a blank page. And yet I feel the most content in those moments because I'm connected to myself in meditation. Literally nothing going on. Nothing going on. Stimuli closed off. Eyes shut. Breathing controlled. You understand me? No movement. Ain't no IG. Ain't no Netflix. Ain't no TikTok. Ain't no YouTube. None of that going on. And yet I feel so deeply connected to myself. And so that's the thing we're yearning for. But instead, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. We're looking for connection in all the wrong places. We believe that in order for us to solve this inherent void, this desire, this fulfilling or unfulfilled space within us, we need to go find somebody who's going to fill that space. And when we get to a certain point, we will damn near have anybody fill that space. We will have any type of person. We won't. We talk about a broken picker. You talk about a broken picker. You talk about a broken. Your picker will be so damn off. Your picker will be non-existent, null and void if you come from a place of desperation and fear. When you have this belief that you need somebody to fulfill or somebody to fill that void within your life, you will start to pick any and everything. That's why you see folk who, they got their boo in jail. They met in jail and, they built and developed this relationship with this person in jail. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying, there'll be people out here in real life and they say, damn, like I'm so lonely right now. Let me get a pen pal in jail. You understand me? Let me get somebody who's locked up at the state penitentiary. Man, let me get me somebody, who is, I'd never even seen their face before. I don't even know if they're a real person or not, but, let me hit them up online and you in the chat room or whatever it may be. You understand? And they may be sending you requests, send me 5,000, send me 10,000, please, so I can get visa to come see you. I can say these things. I'm African. Don't worry. It's not messed up when I say it, right? Born and raised African, I can say this. But you may have somebody on the other side finessing you and you still want to buy into it. The Tinder Swindler. I haven't seen the documentary yet, but I hear that it is quite intriguing, especially for somebody who's obsessed with the mind like myself, is how do people fall into these type of situations? I tell you why. Desperation, desperado. The belief that you are not deserving of that good and the belief that you don't deserve it from within, right? A lack of self-love will lead us to places where we are, searching under every rock, every crevice. We're looking throughout life on a scavenger hunt for anything that will satisfy for the moment. And then we end up in these relationship dynamics that, of course, are unsatisfactory, but are also destructive, toxic, etc. And then we also make ourselves the victim of them, right? We say, I can't believe they did me like that. I can't believe they did X, Y, and Z. You can't believe that? Really? You never even scoped them out. You don't even know who the person is. You didn't even use your antennas. You didn't use your sensors. You didn't go into that relationship from a place of connectedness. You didn't see whether or not you and this person had a true bond, but instead you thought to yourself, well, damn, I mean, this might be my only chance. This might be my one time, this might be the best looking person that I get. And by the way, if we're still going off of people's externals, we really need to evolve as a species. If we're still going off of how somebody looks, like if you look at me right now and think, wow, he's good looking, he must be whatever. Oh my, you got it all the way messed up. We've been bamboozled. We've been fooled. We've been hoodwinked. If you are looking at the external, thinking that says anything about who the person is or the character, get out of here. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow. Built like the statue David, built like Adonis from Creed. Ooh, must be a whatever type of, nope, says nothing. What it says is they can lift some weights. What it says is, they can eat chicken breast or whatever it is. That's what it says. You have to look for character in order to understand or realize what that person's character is. You can't look externally for something that is internal, right? So if you're going out looking for somebody from a space of desperation, you're always going to end up in a situation that is compromised 100% of the time. Desperation always leads to desperate situations. Let me run that back. That was a bar. Desperation always leads to desperate situations, meaning you're only going to attract to yourself something that's going to bring you into a state of even more desperation. Loneliness only harbors more loneliness because loneliness is not happening out there, it's happening within here. Loneliness is a state of consciousness. It is a belief that we're buying into that we're lonely, that we have nobody, right? Just like Akon used to say back in the day, he was so lonely. He was so lonely, Mr. Lonely. He had nobody, nobody on his own. You understand me? I know that's a copywritten song, so Akon, have grace on me, fellow African brother here. So we got to get ourselves back to a place where we make decisions from inspiration, which is in spirit, right? From the internal aspects of ourselves, from a full wholehearted space. You know, the reason I was able to manifest to bring in my soulmate is because I made a decision that I was going to open my heart and open my heart completely, and she waltzed right in. But I also had decided consciously that I'm going to live to a space where, to a state where I'm so in love with my life that I don't even notice that my soulmate walked in. I wrote that literally less than a month before she came into my life. I literally wrote that. I said, I'm going to be so in love with my own life that when my soulmate walks in, they waltz right in. I don't even realize it because it feels so natural. And that's exactly what happened. But it's because I gave myself to my own life. I was kicking the can down the road. I said, it can be 6 months from now. It can be, right now I'm just focused on me. When you care more about the aspects within yourself as opposed to getting some sort of external validation, your entire life will finally be yours. You will finally feel as if you are in control of your own experience because you are, as opposed to allowing the external to predict or to predicate the things that you are doing in life. You're moved and swayed by the external forces, by the validation of others, by the opinions of others, by the expectations of others. We need to let that go. That's why I wrote this book. Doing me guilt-free, breaking free from people pleasing, which is nothing more than seeking out external validation, and instead living from a place of personal power. Doing me guilt-free. You got to start doing you, not them. I mean, eventually be them as well, but you need to do you. You need to focus upon you. You need to go within. You need to sit by yourself. You need to go walk by. You need to spend some time with you, and you realize that, damn, I've never been lonely. I was always connected to all of life. I was always connected. There is only oneness in this life, but we can only realize that oneness when we go within, period. That being said, appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in. If y'all want some